Welcome into Alliance Insights. I'm your host, Jonathan Bam Rivers, and this is episode 3 of the best podcast that you ever heard. If you checked into the first 2 podcasts, we interviewed the interns here at Alliance Specialty Contractor, and they were phenomenal. I think they did a great job of explaining who they are, whom they're trying to be in this business, and what opportunities lie ahead for them. But now we're going to continue to get into the meat of Alliance Specialty Contractor. We have Mr. Mike Rodwell, whom they call Big Mike. And when he stands up, I think he's like 6'7", so that's probably apropos for his name, correct?
6'2".
6'2"? I'm close enough, right? Mike, good to see you today, man.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Absolutely. So, Mike, I just want to take the time for you to introduce yourself to everybody via this podcast. Tell us what you do here, what your job role is, and how long you've been with Alliance Specialty Contractor.
Official job title is Chief Operational Officers. Basically what I do when jobs are pushed into approval, I'll sit there and itemize all the materials, push them forward for ordering, basically on the computer most of the time, taking jobs and moving from one slot to the other and keeping the process moving along smoothly.
Absolutely. So talk about that in terms of the approval process and also accessing materials, because I think when people see jobs like roofs get reconstructed and get repaired and get built, they don't understand the steps and the process that it takes to do a job like that, especially the way that you guys make it seem so seamless. Talk to us about the process and all the small intricacies that go into that.
Well, it's a lot, let's say, simpler in one respect and a lot more efficient nowadays. Okay. We pull what's called a roof snap, which is typically it's an aerial view of the property, which gives you an accurate determination of the materials that you need to order, the square footage of the area you're looking at, versus the old days when they stood down there and maybe looked at the roof and tried to count the shingles.
Absolutely.
Or, laddered it up. So, it's going to be a lot more efficient, more accurate. I take that information once the job is actually approved, ready for sale, and they've received their payments, and the job is pushed over to approval. Then I can sit there with the roof snap process and go over to the ordering process, take those numbers and correlate them over there and get the accurate amount of materials.
So, Mike, I'm sorry to cut you off. You talked about efficiency. Talk about that word and also talk about communication, not just with customers, but with also members of your team. Why is it so important for communication to be at such a high level to ensure efficiency?
Well, I mean, communication is always at a high level.
Absolutely.
I mean, you need to understand what party A is doing and party B is doing. So if you don't have adequate communication between all the parties, we have access on the computer where we can message back and forth through AccuLinks, which is another program that we use so that everybody's on the same page always. Like any type of business or even in a personal relationship, if you don't have proper communication, then you've got a breakdown somewhere.
Well, listen, you've been doing this podcast for about 4 or 5 minutes, and it's easy to see that you've got a wealth of knowledge regarding this. So let's take us back. Talk to us about how you got into this industry and what experiences that you've had that brought you to this point.
Out of college, construction trades, everything from high-rise work to home building. The past 30 probably self-employed. I met Jody through a bid process. I did a project for him. We communicated back and forth and came in for an interview. So I've been here about 4.5 months now. So what I bring to the table is, I hope, a fair amount of construction knowledge. I've owned a franchise in the past, so I understand the organizational skills and everything that needs to be in play to conduct business, and hopefully I'm bringing something to the table that is furthering their business along.
There are many customers in this market that have never heard of Alliance. And it's not because you guys are great, because I know firsthand the work that you do, and it's phenomenal. You guys are doing a great job of also getting your name out there. So if I come to you and I say, Big Mike, what's the biggest reason or the biggest why that somebody would choose Alliance Specialty Contractor over anybody else in the market? What would you tell them?
I think if it's, let's say, a homeowner next door that sees the process, the crews come in, they start the roof, they finish the roof, and probably 99% of the time, we're done in one day.
Absolutely.
Cleaned up, and everybody's happy. As opposed to, you see some companies out there that, maybe 3-4 days later, you're getting your roof finished up. So it's efficiency, it's standing behind your product, in respect to, getting additional work. I mean, the guys put the yard signs out. There are different forms to generate some more business, but it's the overall professionalism of the business, doing what you say, saying what you do, and moving along to the next project.
Relationships are everything. You talked about communication and efficiency earlier. Just talk about the relationship that you have with Jody and Ariana here at Alliance, and why the relationships they have not only with you, but with everybody else that's associated with this company, why it helps it thrive so much.
Well, I've been on both ends of the spectrum working for somebody and having people work for me.
Right.
And Jody and Ariana, they treat you like family.
Yes, sir.
And, that's kind of a thing that people throw around and say, oh, but they actually do. They treat their employees as family. They look out after them. If anybody's got, any kind of a small issue, they are, more than happy, and they'll go out of the way to address it.
Absolutely. And the one thing that I want to talk about with you next is I'm glad that we're having this conversation, because we know that when you're in this industry, things don't always go as planned. And that's just the way of the world. That's life, correct?
Correct.
So, and we know a lot of times it's not whether or not a situation will arise, it's how you're going to handle the situation. Mm-hmm. So talk to us about your mindset and how you're able to keep people calm as an operations manager when things don't necessarily go as planned and you have to come up with a contingency.
Well, you're right. There's always going to be, not always, but there's going to be situations where you have to resolve problems. And it goes back to communication.
Right.
Scenario, if you have a customer that's unhappy with something, communicate, set a plan, execute the plan, get it done.
All right.
And, construction in general, contractors in general have received a bad rap over the years. And primarily that's because of the bad apples.
Exactly.
So if you communicate with the customer, you tell them how you're going to solve the problem, you get the problem solved in a timely manner, then I think everybody's happy.
And I like that you said that, because there's always an assumption that if one person or company does this, the entire industry does this.
Correct.
And I'm glad that you really talked about setting proper expectations, because one thing that I've learned in life is that we're never upset by what we get in life, we're upset by what we're expected to get. Mm-hmm. So if you're setting those proper expectations, everything will fly the way it should be.
Correct.
Right? So Mike, listen, man, you're a pretty phenomenal dude, man. So I just want to ask you, at the end of the day, words for people that are in the roofing industry, words for people that are just walking around every day. You've been a business owner, you're an operations manager, like you're the cream of the crop at what you do. Spit some knowledge to people and keep them encouraged on what they need to do every day to move forward.
Just get up every day, put your boots on, and do what you have to do it correctly. Whatever type of business you're in. Everybody's going to fail at something.
Yes, sir.
Continue to get up and do it again.
Most definitely.
And get it right.
Absolutely. Well, bro, you are the man. Big Mike. That's what I'm going to call you if you don't mind, okay?
All right.
Big Mike. So listen, you've heard here from Big Mike, operations manager here at Alliance Specialty Contractor. He's a phenomenal guy. And as I finish talking to Big Mike, I want to introduce you guys to a new segment here on Alliance Insights. And this is called the Alliance Affirmation. So what we'll do is every episode, we're going to end with an affirmation. And Mike just talked to you about efficiency. And I want to build on that, because, see, everybody wants to do something well. Everybody wants to do something to the best of their ability. However, what we don't realize is what the word efficiency actually means. It means that you're able to do something at a high level and yet not waste time doing it. So I want to focus on the things that cause us to waste time. You've ever heard somebody ask you, hey, are you focused? Or you need to focus on something. I'm going to tell you the truth about something. Everybody's focused on one thing or another. So if somebody's ever told you in life that you're not focused, they're lying to you. The problem is you're not focused on the right thing. And because you're not focused on the right thing, you will lack efficiency, because you will lack the competency and the commitment to get it done. So every time Big Mike comes in here, I can tell by the way he talks, he comes in here with a mindset that we're going to work hard and efficient today, because this is a standard that we have. So what I want you to do is I want you to stop thinking about where you went wrong in life. I want you to stop thinking about the mistakes that you made. I want you to stop thinking about what other people may think about you, and I want you to start thinking about who you are called to be. That in itself will cause you to be more efficient and cause you to love exactly what you do. This has been another phenomenal episode. Guys, I'm telling you something. This is the biggest thing going. And if you don't believe me, you need to start believing. Because Jody and Ariana and everybody here at Alliance, they've got a special thing going. And it's going to be a short matter of time before the world knows it. You make sure you stay with us. This is your boy, Jonathan Bam Rivers. This has been another episode of Alliance Insights, and we'll see you next time.